just an innocent hip-hop festival here and kind of the culmination of a weekend-long event. It was supposed to be music and dance only here, but it turned out to be a whole lot more when this happened on Sunday afternoon. Let's show you what it looked like at one point during this hip-hop festival.
What we saw last night and the night before in Los Angeles is not about civil rights. It's not about the great cause of equality that all Americans must uphold. It's not a message of protest. It's been the brutality of a mob.
It's a real death trap in there, so you really got to be conscious, safety conscious of what the hell you're doing when you go in there. Stand by just a second. Watch those guys over there. What are you doing, dude? Okay. What happened, partner? I mean, were some dudes chasing you? Did you pull a robbery and get shot by somebody or what?
Say the truth, sir. I just can't place it, man. I'm walking and I'm moving.
Just all got anything that can help us at all? How many dudes? What kinds of weapons? Did you hear automatic weapons? Did you hear anything? Or do you care?
No, sir.
I didn't think you did. Come out here. Come on. Sit down on your ass as soon as you get out. Sit down on your ass as soon as you get out that door. You almost got your ass blown away. You understand that? You ever stick your hand up underneath your shirt and pull out a screwdriver, it looks like a gun to me. You almost died because you wanted some Twinkies, you jerk. Hey, you put your hand behind your back one more time like that, and I will hurt you big time. Take your hands out of your pockets, please. Thank you, gentlemen. Put them on top of your head, please. Can I take my hands behind my back, please? Put them on top of your head. Top of your head, face the wall. Do not look at me. Sir? No. Is this fine? Put your hands, watch my lips. Put your hands on your head, face the wall.
Hospital. This is it. This in jail. And funerals.
And that story goes back decades.
Somebody came up with a handgun.
In the 90s, gang violence was an epidemic.
Really loud, like bam, 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 bam.
Dozens of murders a month, a cycle of revenge killing. But things are changing because the gangsters themselves are turning young people away from violence.
Gangster rap, I guess it's like telling the real and not holding back, giving up, the reality from the street point of view. And like by us being from the streets, we know how to report it. I tell, basically what's going on.
Eazy-E grew up on the mean streets of Compton, California. He's a gangster rap original with a long police rap sheet and a top 10 pop album.
And they say rap promotes violence and gangster rap does this and everything else. And I don't think gangster rap promotes violence at all. I think it's the person, A rap song doesn't make a person go out and shoot people or go out and rape people and everything else. I think it's the person.
I have some lyrics here from some of the songs that you've done in your career, and to be very honest, much of this I can't even say on television, but I want to read some of this to you. So what about the bitch that got shot? F her. You think I care about a bitch? I ain't a sucker.
Right.
The state prosecution, because I looked at the tape and said, oh my God, that's a racial beating. Then I watched the trial, parts of it, and I thought, and when Officer Brasino wanted a defense, I said, okay, maybe I'll get involved in the case now because he criticized the other officers for excessive force, but I had to call another client. I was representing a guy named Eazy-E from NWA, who was the gangster rap godfather, and I called Eazy. I said, what do you think about me being your lawyer and also representing someone, the Rodney King? He said, everyone's entitled to a defense, so go ahead, no problem. He actually got to know my client, believed that he was innocent, and helped support his family during the trial.
Oh, really?
Yeah, amazing.
Easy? You actually call up and say, hello, Easy?
Yeah, of course. And he actually attended the trial and also was very criticized in the African-American press at the time. Because
for supporting one of the officers.
Yeah.
That's really, gutsy.
I know. He is a very principled. He's dead now.
shirt will make an entry. Put your head down. What are you looking at? Put your head down.
Gangs in the 1980s.
This isn't a West Side Story. This isn't a bunch of kids going around with zip guns. It's a bunch of sociopathic killers who have Uzi machine guns and MAC-10 machine guns.
Good evening. I'm Ted Koppel, and this is Nightline.
There's an incredible lack of real appreciation for the level of violence that these people are capable of. You know, just exactly what they're willing to do. How little regard they have for life.
They do seem to operate without rules, and in many of our cities, gangs appear to have become the pushers and enforcers for the international drug trade. That's our story tonight.
The press, Rodney King.
Can we all get along?
A true observation that an American soldier on duty in the Persian Gulf may have been safer there than on the streets of his hometown. The president might have added, especially if his hometown is Los Angeles. In Operation Desert Storm, fewer than 200 Americans died. In the streets of Los Angeles last year, 690 died in gang wars. There are some 100,000 gang members, homeboys they call themselves, in 850 Los Angeles gangs. And in those wars, there's no ceasefire.
Every day, lives in the water. Going to jail, getting shot, getting stabbed.
3 shots for attack 342.
It is kind of a serious game.
Darkness descends on Los Angeles, and the gangs and their guns hit the streets again. Shot in the leg, a gang member runs for his life. Gang members scatter. Another skirmish and the bloody war is over. No one was killed this time, but not for lack of trying.
You know, why not? You know, I have nothing to live for. I mean, hundreds of kids have told me that before. That, for me, is the hardest obstacle in all this. I mean, you can open a school, you can find a job, but to kind of redirect kids, give them hope, fill them with hope, is the tallest order there is.
But if you get shot, you could die.
You get shot and die, you're too bad.
But you're 14 years old, your whole life is ahead of you. 14 years old and ready to die.
The Los Angeles Unified School District reported today that the white student population is almost 20,000 under last year's total. The source of the problem? White flight. Terry Drinkwater reports.
Mandatory busing was ordered by the courts and heralded as the only way to integrate Los Angeles schools. But now, a month after it began in earnest, educators, parents, and teachers generally agree it has failed. Not because of the demonstrations that have, on a few occasions, stopped the buses from rolling, not because of the protests, not because of violence between the races. There hasn't been any. Busing has failed because the number of white students needed to make it work have quietly dropped out of the public schools. 1/4 of the whites scheduled for the rides do not show up. A few of the boycotting whites have been kept home, parents hiring tutors. Others are now enrolled in storefront schools, but most have been squeezed into existing parochial and private schools. So, what's left of the public school system? Crowded classrooms in some parts of the city, teachers who can speak no Spanish trying to teach students who can speak no English. Minorities still isolated in the ghetto schools, which were never included in the busing plan because there weren't enough whites to go around. And there are other prospects if the exodus of whites continues.
I think the students that have left are gone. I'm very depressed. We look as if we might even be a school under 300 students next year. It's very, very possible. And in which case, there might be no more Warner Avenue School.
Close it?
It could very well be closed.
In the midst of it all, the school superintendent requested and got permission for early retirement. Meanwhile, Governor Brown has ordered a state investigation of how the Los Angeles Board spends its money. And educators in and beyond the district forecast slumping student test scores, fearing that in all the confusion, the teaching and learning process has fallen by the wayside. Terry Drinkwater, CBS News.
Yeah, see, this is the school. Me and Danny actually met in the parking lot over there. And the reason we hung out here instead of leaving when we ditched is because there was a lot of different people. You got the mix of like the upper middle class white kids. And then we had all these like LA kids busted, you know, from the ghetto, from, you know, just hanging out South Central and shit. They come down here, and which is really what brought a lot of hip hop culture to the school too. You know, I ain't just been here in a while, G. I know it's been a while. When the inner city kids came here, it brought some of the inner city here. You know what I'm saying? It brought some reality to La La Land. And a lot of things started right here for all of us. I mean, probably my whole rap career was basically started around here. It's people want to play on it, which is fine with me, because like I said, as long as it's truth, I got no beef with it.
I won't ever slack up, honky better back up. Try and play the role and you're the whole crew will act up.
If you speak to anybody who's ever been to jail, that's what they call jail. Jail is the house of pain. And my personal view on what the house of pain is to me is this, is my head. This is my house of pain. It's where everything goes on with me.
Jump around.
Life is pain, and anybody who tells you different is selling something. Saying it's like if you want something and it's gonna be something that's worth something, you're gonna feel it somehow, you know.
Front of the car. Where you guys on your way to?
That's him. Except for he doesn't have his hat with him.
Did you know Twin? The one that got shot right back there? Yeah. You know?
Police estimate that there are now as many as 600 street gangs in Los Angeles County and 70,000 gang members. Most loosely identify themselves with the Crips, who wear blue, or the Bloods, who wear red.
We take them to jail for anything and everything we can. It more or less prevents that particular guy from getting into anything, and it kind of keeps the other guys off the street for a while, but never would I say it keeps a lid on it.
How many homeboys have been killed in the last year or so from T Flats?
Less than a year, like 5.
Is that right? What's the youngest person to get killed from your neighborhood?
Munchie, Little Bird.
Munchie?
Yeah.
You get killed up on Shower?
Yeah, he was only 14.
Where were you when you got shot?
I get real like this.
Where were you when you got shot?
He was in the garage. Okay, here they are. They're going to be taken in an ambulance.
This gang member and 2 buddies were smoking crack cocaine in a garage when a rival gang drove up and shot them. 20 minutes after these pictures were taken, Lorenzo Crosby was dead.
Gang banging nowadays is way dangerous. Killing and shooting, and mothers getting took out, and brothers and sisters getting killed, ride by shooting. Innocent
original gangsters like Looney, who act as a father figure they never had.
Oh, G homies gives the word. I'm gonna go up there and let them have it. If I go murder somebody, I'm gonna go back to the hood. Everybody already strapped outside, prepared.
I'm a prime example. Really, I can call it a bad prime example for all the people out here, because their kids are seeing what I'm out here doing and ended up being in what I'm involved in.
Of all things OGs provide to boy gangsters, none are more critical to gang power or devastating to the city than the assault weapons they wield.
Everybody like using these. This what you call technology.
Imagine listening to sirens literally all day and all night long, listening to gunshots when you go to bed. Whole group of grade school kids, just a few weeks ago, I said, how many of you know somebody that was shot or killed? 90% of those kids raised their hands.
Psychiatric studies suggest that gang-involved teens here suffer post-traumatic stress disorder similar to that experienced by Iraq war vets.
I've been jumped, I've been shot at, I shot at somebody, I've been hit, and I already seen too much to be scared of something. If I go to jail, I think that's gonna be the only way that I might not get killed out here.
Of Saya Compton's students, Everardo Navarro is one of the youngest and most hardened kids here.
You don't give a f***, you don't care. It's like whatever, f*** it. If I gotta die to prove a point, that's what I'm gonna do.
Domestic violence call was the original call for this. It looks like we're coming to a stop out here. The door is open. This guy is getting out of the vehicle. What? Oh, he's got a gun. He has got a gun. He is, and this could end kind of badly out here. He's gesturing very, yeah. This is not going to end very well. Shots fired. And he's still moving, still going out here. Sheriff's Department, he's still moving. You can definitely see a definite bullet wound to this gentleman, the suspect's back.
Fire, they're padding the area with fire. This officer needs help. Shots fired. Fully automatic weapons.
Officer needs help. 1540 is requesting help. 1540, your location.
I'm at the bank.
All units, I know tonight advises large shots fired. 500 block of Lower Canyon.
Try about 80 to 100 rounds.
Requesting help. All units, officer requested help at the bank.
Stay down. The suspects are shooting AK-47.
All units at the Bank of America, stay down. Shots are being fired. Automatic fire.
Code 3.
SWAT is being notified. Code 3. All officers, stay down. Shots are being fired from AK-47. There is an officer down. All units, officer needs help, Lower Canyon and Kittredge, officer down. Officer needs help, Lower Canyon and Kittredge, officer down.
15 L10, requesting SWAT, code 3.
L10 SWAT being notified. RA's en route for the officer down. All officers stay down.
50 L10, see if you can get SWAT here on an air unit. L70 SWAT's en route. We need a location for a CP.
15 L10, they need a location for a CP.
50 L10, stand by. We're going to have to get the CP in a safe place. We've got automatic gunfire being fired.
All units stand by on the CP location. Automatic shots being fired to 15 L10. Will advise.
We need help out here with the officers down. Yes. You better get an attack alert here.
Any unit know how many officers are down? We have one.
More than one.
There's more than one officer down. SWAT is being notified to airlift.
Perhaps they feel that they have a better chance if the gunman drives and the other gunman provides tactical cover. This is almost a military type of tactical situation. These guys act as if they have had military training.
Allí se encuentra uno de los policías que comenzó esta balacera. Tratando de conseguir. Te digo. En este momento la policía está intercambiando balas. Con los presuntos asaltantes.
So we're right fucking here. This guy's over here. I mean, that's less than 100 yards, or about 100 yards, I think. It's pretty wild. The side of the wall over here, that's where they stayed. The one gunman stayed in his car, and the other one sort of walked back and forth in front of the cars, as you see in the video. I was waiting for these guys to make a break for it. I mean, when I was here, they could have gone through the cops with no problem. They could have gone down Archwood and just gotten away with no problem. They only had the green light. But
The most unusual things nature does on this planet, and it's going on right now across a vast area out west. The weather in this country, with few exceptions, travels from west to east. That's why it takes longer to fly New York to L.A. than it does L.A. to New York. But what's happening tonight is one of those exceptions and one of those rare weather events. The winds are blowing over land from east to west, and in some cases they have reached 140 miles per hour over land. These are the Santa Ana winds and then some, a strong, intense, severe system we haven't seen the likes of since the 1990s, and it's causing big problems, risking lives, and it's on the move. We begin tonight with NBC's Miguel Almaguer in Pasadena. Miguel, good evening.
Brian, good evening. These are some of the most powerful winds to ever hit this area. The city of Pasadena took a beating. As a matter of fact, folks that live here have been told to stay home if their home isn't damaged. And this wind-driven event isn't over yet.
The notorious Santa Ana winds, with gusts at nearly 100 miles an hour, took down hundreds of trees and toppled power poles. In Los Angeles, downed electrical lines sparked brush fires, and fear even a small blaze could fuel a massive wind-driven fire. First responders dispatched to a new call every 12 seconds.
We were losing shingles off the roof. Rain gutter came flying off. It was nuts.
In Pasadena, the city declared an emergency. Schools were closed and roads and freeways that were open were backed up for miles. Across California, an estimated 340,000 lost power. Even LAX was temporarily in the dark. 23 planes rerouted due to powerful wind.
Look at that. Look at the spark here. Wow.
One for hellacious.
Santa Ana. Indians named it Santana, the devil wind. When it blows, plants wither, trees and brush become crackling dry, atmosphere grows tense, oppressive. People tire easily, argue more. Even the suicide rate rises during the months of the Santa Ana. Warm, dry. This climate plays an important part in attracting over 3,000 people a month to the city of Los Angeles.
The fire is over the top. It's heading straight down Stone Canyon. Engine 31, 45, 46, and 67 move directly into the fire. Companies that can lay into these individual houses, we are going to begin losing more houses on Roscommare. It has already jumped Brenda Flora, going towards Sepulveda. There's houses going on both sides of the street in the 1700 block Roscommare. There are about 15 houses involved at the corner of Anzio Road and Roscommare. We're dispatching everything we have.
And in Brentwood, a third crisis. A mile and a half west of furiously burning Bel Air, a completely unexpected phenomenon takes place. Thousands of firebrands are literally dumped from the skies on this heretofore untouched section. In residential areas and hills above, the embers spread. From 60 to 70 fires suddenly blaze up, as if an aerial incendiary attack had been launched. And in Brentwood, a third crisis. A mile and a half west of furiously burning Bel Air, a completely unexpected phenomenon takes place. Thousands of firebrands are literally dumped from the skies on this heretofore untouched section. In residential areas and hills above, the embers spread. From 60 to 70 fires suddenly blaze up, as if an aerial incendiary attack had been launched.
You tell we got monitors knocked off right here in the newsroom.
4:30. That camera does not move, does it? Okay, we've got another aftershock coming.
Ready to go. I don't hear any audio.
Okay. Okay. We're here in the Channel 4 newsroom, as you folks. There's no surprise. For any folks this morning, we've been hit with a major earthquake. Right now, we're trying to basically gather some more information, trying to figure out where this
electricity in Southern California. Coming through the San Gabriel Valley, I get a chance to look down during part of the drive and see part of the LA Basin. The portion of the LA Basin that I saw did have most electricity. However, in the San Gabriel Valley and in parts of the San Fernando Valley, there have been areas knocked out of electricity. So
lightning was hitting the valley, and those were, of course, the transformers blowing up.
After I heard a roar, the building began to shake. I'm on the 15th floor of the Holiday Inn, and the building began to violently shake, which threw me to my knees, and the lights began to flicker, and things fell off the walls, and drawers popped out of the bureau, and my suitcases were scattered all over the place. And for some reason, because the building made this horrible groaning noise, I went and jammed a towel in my door, wondering whether I would be able to get out if I didn't do.
Trapped in there for a while. Tell us what happened.
Well, I woke up. I thought the exorcist was happening. The whole floor was shaking. The ground was moving about 3 and 4 feet back and forth. His bed, he thought somebody was waking him up by shaking his bed like this, and so we ran to our doorways, and then his door fell off the hinges and fell right in front of him. Ran outside in our underwear, and got some fire extinguishers and just checked out the damage to make sure everyone was okay.
14 meets the 5. This is the southbound direction of the 14. As you can see, it is completely collapsed as this is the transition road onto the southbound Golden State.
This is the
see if you can get a shot of that. Move up there, get a view of those lights.
Right now, look, you can see right there. You can see that.
Look at that going.
It's starting to shake in the windows.
Yeah.
Stay out of the building. Get out of the building. There's another one coming.
Can they feel it over there? Well, I think maybe we told them that it's coming down there. Yeah. Because it would be on the way if it's hitting from the San Fernando Valley. Yeah. We'd get it before they did.
Yeah, tell that woman to come out of the building.
Yeah, get them out of the building, see. Although it would probably be there by now.
Steve, could you feel it there a second ago?
We could feel it just a little bit here. People are still, of course, going back and forth inside, bringing out their belongings. We could feel it. I could feel it a very little bit. We could see the windows.
Sleeping in tents out here because they simply don't want to go inside again. They're still feeling a little queasy, a little bit uneasy about going inside, and so they're staying there. It just gives you an idea of how things have changed from tonight compared to last night. John, Christine?
All right, that
recreational area there. I'm not sure if you could tell a little bit north, or if you pan a little bit north there, Bob. There you go.
O.J. Simpson formally charged today with 2 counts of murder. He was supposed to surrender at 11 o'clock today. Basically, his attorney turned his back, and O.J. managed to get away.
Get away, apparently, with his good friend, Al Cowlings. Now, we have a little bit of an update. This is off the Associated Press wire, or excuse me, the Reuters wire. According to someone who is monitoring police scanners, the man in the car says he would not give himself up. He's in the back of the vehicle. He has a gun to his head, and he says he will hurt himself. He is demanding to be taken to his mother. Now, that apparently is information off a police scanner, according to the Reuters newswire. We continue to watch from Sky 11 this 1993 Ford Bronco. We do know that this is the vehicle that belongs to Al Cowlings, former pro football player himself, a longtime friend of O.J. Simpson.
It will be interesting to see if he is allowed to go into the mansion itself or whether he will be stopped short of it.
That's a good question.
The Los Angeles County Sheriffs and California Highway.
It's changed the entire scenario, getting off the freeway, and it's, I'm telling you, I'm looking at this along with you. I think that's Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, it looks like Sunset.
And,
the trees and the way, the configuration.
Right. And so moving up into the Brentwood area where O.J. has had a home for quite some time, and also the home of his late wife, Nicole Brown.
Next. Anything can happen when the Santa Ana blows in from the desert.
You'd be a little scared. It's hot. It's dry. It can be difficult to breathe. None of those conditions are comfortable for humans. I like them because I like bad weather.
Oh, the Santa Ana winds are just this like hot air. They're warm.
My driver in my convertible, I know
the sawdust and the debris gets in my eyes.
Viento pues está muy fuerte los vientos, casi los árboles se caen.
El aire trae mucha bacteria.
Affects my eyes, my sinuses, affects my hair fever terribly.
What would bother me is because I have asthma.
Soy alérgica a todo el polvo, entonces
I also think it kind of makes people loopy. Like I just get really annoyed.
170 men are fighting the fire, and the fire is winning.
If you've ever experienced a Santa Ana wind fire, it definitely is something that you never forget. You've got hot ash, you've got dirt, you've got smoke, you've got rocks, you've got pieces of brush that are blowing into your eyes. Embers that are pelting your protective clothing.
The smoke was so thick you could barely breathe. It's this guilty, paradoxical pleasure, knowing that your perfect waves are coming at the expense of destruction. The Santa Anas, although they're called the devil winds, they're pretty darn angelic for surfers. Oh, when the Santa Ana is coming into town, everyone gets on the phone. Hey, did you hear there's a Santa Ana coming in? It's gonna be good.
You call in sick to work. It's time to get down to the beach, quick.
The normal wind is the west wind. It comes from the ocean. It's the sea breeze. The west wind makes the wave crumble, and it just ruins the shape. Whereas an offshore wind, a Santa Ana wind, the wave's approaching, and then it gets hit with this force from the land, and that keeps the wave up. It creates a tube or a barrel.
It's what all surfers really hope for.
Kids draw pictures of them on their notebooks.
It's pretty spectacular.
What's in that backpack? Okay.
Oh, no.
I hope everyone's going to be okay in these other vehicles here. That's a little scary.
Where is he going? So now is he going to try to hide? So the car's left there. Is he going to get in another car?
No, he's just kind of wandering down the...
He's just got a backpack?
Going to try to...
Going to get on the bus? What is he doing?
Whoa.
We keep seeing things being thrown out of the RV. We do believe that we've seen a dog. The windshield is completely smashed in. It looks like the dash of the RV is also coming apart in lots of places. So that dog, though, was seen coming out the front of the RV. But again, it is rush hour. Well, it's 7:30, so not quite rush hour in the LA area anymore. But again, Southern California, Fox LA covering it. We're going to continue to cover it on the News Now stream. We do stream live news coverage just like this from across the country all day. You can always find us by going to fox10phoenix.com. So again, we're going to continue to monitor the situation. Please join us by coming on over to the website, fox10phoenix.com. Back to you guys.
Okay, so our team here, Oscar on the web, and Oscar's telling us that the dog did either jump or fall out of the vehicle. You saw the driver slam on the brakes and then get the dog back in the RV.
See a lot of.
And is that fuel?
It's just that's going to be probably just water from water tanks that are inside the RV there. So it's not gasoline or anything like that. So it's campers usually carry a certain amount of drinkable water on board.
Look at that vehicle. Look at the vehicle. That is insane.
Yeah, it hit the tree in the parking lot.
Yeah, Araceli, what you're saying in capital letters, crazy. I'm just praying, Kevin, nobody gets hurt. Look at the way this guy's driving, the high rate of speed. Luckily, an open stretch here, but several close calls with cars.
Yeah, surprisingly, it hasn't rolled over at this point, too, because it's taken a lot of those turns at very high speeds. Now,
yeah, Jeff, what you said. Go ahead, Kevin.
On Corbin here, and you can see there's not a lot of traffic, luckily, at this time, but there have been a lot of close calls here. Just passing underneath the 101. Oh, he just hit another car right there. Car came in off of the off ramp there.
Oh wow!
So it's completely. They're still going here.
Wow.
There was a car that was coming off of the 101 freeway.
Oh gosh.
The dog's still back in the vehicle, hanging on there. The whole right side, you can see, right side, front side steering is blown out, not just by the tree, and also by the car that ran into them coming off of the 101 freeway.
So as we're watching this, we just saw the first crash with this RV, where this RV crashed into a car. Kevin, could you get a feel for perhaps how bad that crash was?
Well, hopefully the driver of that vehicle is okay. I mean, it was a broadside right into it, but it wasn't. Looked like the car. Oh, he just ran another car. It looked like there was possibly another car that was either backing out of that driveway you see right there, but he hit that car broadside.
The dog is in the street there.
Very high rate of speed, at times on the wrong side of the road. High rate of speed. There you can see a police helicopter following. There, he's losing control. He's losing control. The bus sliding sideways, coming up on the curb, narrowly missing a vehicle. Now on the wrong side of the road. Very dangerous. Is it over? Is he stopping? Nope. He's backing up.
We're just lucky that he didn't hit someone head on.
And in the process of taking out that fence, it wound up getting caught underneath his bus. And so he started dragging this steel fence along the roadway. And as he made a left turn, you could see the fence sliding underneath the bus.
The bus has a chain link fence caught underneath the bus, making a right-hand turn. The fence is swinging out. Oh, wow, like a guillotine. California Highway Patrolman, Sheriff's Deputy, almost getting hit.
The driver suddenly has nowhere else to go.
He stopped. I thought our pursuit was over with. My partner opened the right side door and was reaching down to grab the shotgun, and I look up and see backup lights coming towards us. I'm yelling at her, start pulling her back in as the bus comes backwards and hits our right front door, slamming it shut. So at this point, we're lucky she didn't get her legs broken. I've never had this happen before in many pursuits, so it's odd enough chasing a bus. So we're watching it as it goes by, and as it goes past us, my other two units are set up probably about 20, 30 feet behind us because of the narrowness of the roadway. And he proceeds back and just starts slamming into the two cars, spinning them around. I thought he flipped one of the cars, but he didn't.
Pushing the highway patrol vehicles backwards like toys. They're now opening fire, shots fired.
Crushing them. I mean, it was shocking.
Even more shocking is what the driver does next.
It was right in front of a woman's home, a woman by the name of Mary Pringle. Fortunately for her, she wasn't home.
Because it's like, this isn't real, you just want to blink and, no, this isn't happening. And yeah, it is happening.
Is he going to stop? No, backing up. The bus is backing up on the curb, across the grass, into a home.
After the bus crashed into the house, you see the officers, myself included, go up and basically...
No idea what this guy's doing. But you have to remember right now, it's been kind of a little goofy as we've been following this vehicle around. But we do remember that this person is said to have a weapon. This whole thing started out with a weapon. Apparently this person had a gun. Oh, there he goes. Now he's running on foot. LAPD a little bit slow to respond there on the run. He's on his phone, so he's not taking that run too serious. But continuing here, running on foot. This is going to be on Crenshaw Boulevard. LAPD definitely chasing this guy. That guy right there on a motorcycle, not law enforcement. He's probably putting himself in quite a bit of danger of being arrested if that guy doesn't get out of there. Right now, though, you can see the number of officers out here, 13,000 block of Crenshaw Boulevard. Officers from LAPD using their vehicles as basically as cover as they're trying to take this guy down. SWAT units here on scene as well. Those are not less than lethal weapons. Well, there's one less than lethal. We see one shot being fired. He got hit by one beanbag, two beanbags. So this guy running definitely right now. You can see that laser, that green dot on him. That's going to be the less than lethal. Can imagine, pretty painful as they're pelting him with those beanbags and or whatever.
One is they're totally unpredictable. You have no idea what's going to happen. So there's just this kind of inherent excitement around that.
Oh, gosh.
But what is really strange too is it's a way to get to know the city better. You go to a meeting in LA, you show up at a meeting across town, the first thing someone's going to ask you is, how was the traffic? How'd you get here?
We are now southbound along Main Street heading down towards Imperial Highway.
York Boulevard, Monterey turns into York Boulevard.
This time of day, the 10th freeway, that's not the place to play.
There's a whole vocabulary around this. Why in the world should I know what a spike strip or a pit maneuver is? But I do now from watching these for so many years.
Perfect pit maneuver right there.
But what does it all mean?
Pursuit intervention technique. Pit is a forced rotational stop.
Yeah, there it is.
Getting ready to set up that spike strip. Let's watch this being deployed.
It's a hollow tube with a point on it. You're basically putting a straw into the tire.
That wheel totally gone.
Boom. He's got him. Vehicle spun out.
Every news station in Los Angeles has a helicopter that's on call 24 hours a day. They go out to cover fires or accidents. I mean, they're mostly for purposes of traffic coverage, but because pursuits are now so interwoven into traffic coverage, like it becomes the main thing that they're doing in the evenings.
It's become so much of a staple in Southern California that at times it feels like we have one every day.
Yeah, look at that. Whoa!
I think this really is a 15-minute of fame situation, but for the most part, you can't name people other than OJ who have ever been involved in a police pursuit. So you have to wonder, like, what is it that they do it for?
I never understand, no matter how many car chases I watch, why do I think they're going to get away with it?
Last year, there was a crazy pursuit. These guys were doing donuts on Hollywood Boulevard.
Whoa, wow. They're trying to have a good time right now.
What? And then they ended up going by restaurants where people were watching it in a bar, and people would run out on the sidewalk and, cheer them on as they were going. And a TMZ tour bus tried to stop them on the freeway.
Oh, are they going to stop it? Whoa!
Yes! And one of the guys threw a sandwich at the TMZ bus.
How's this for an only in LA moment?
It doesn't get more Hollywood than that.
TMZ! And they ended up pulling over in this neighborhood, getting out of their cars, all the neighborhoods coming out, taking selfies with them. They were just like, all right, we're just going to wait here to get arrested. And that was a particularly crazy chase. You remember those moments, but you don't remember the drivers. You remember the moment. To forget that there's a whole human element to this. In 1999, there was a really horrific incident that people thought might initiate the end of pursuits. There was a very depressed man who led police on a pursuit that ended up on a freeway interchange. And at the end of the chase, he actually set his pickup truck on fire and his dog was inside. There were 7 helicopters up in the air covering this, and some of them had tight shots. This was all on live TV. And then he took out a rifle and he killed himself.
It was a particularly disastrous ending to what has become near daily fodder for cable and local news.
And a lot of news directors after that kind of said, okay, we've got blood on our hands here. Like, we can't do this. Let's consider not running these pursuits. But the ratings were just so great that they couldn't do that. Statistically, about a person a day dies in the country as the result of a pursuit. But also that's what keeps people watching these. It's a gladiator sport. There's definitely been a conversation around the media's culpability in this. If they stopped covering this completely, would they stop? There's always going to be pursuits anywhere in the world, right? There's always going to be someone trying to escape the cops. But the appeal that, hey, I could do this and all my friends are going to see it, and I can actually text them while I'm doing it because I can let them know, hey, I'm doing this. If those weren't televised, I think that they would plummet.
All right, remember the Sacramento Bee? The Sacabee.com? All right, look what we have here. Illuminati government lasers. California fire conspiracy theories are wild and wildly implausible. They're wildly implausible, ladies and gentlemen. All right? This guy from the Sac Bee is going to let us know how wildly implausible they are. This guy, Michael McGough. November 15th, 2018, 3 a.m. There's little to no evidence to support most of their claims, but that doesn't stop blogs, forums, YouTube channels, and other outlets from sharing sensational conspiracy theorist explanations in the aftermath of a tragedy. Venture down the wrong path of Google or Wikipedia searches, and you may find yourself in the thick of some alternative explanations for California's deadly wildfires. Very, very alternative explanations. Here's just a sampling, most of them relating to last year's fires. For reasons relating to their credibility, we won't link directly to stories making claims of questionable veracity, but all theorists listed below have been shared online by at least 2 different conspiracy enthusiast outlets. Surf the web at your own risk. Oh God, the Sacramento Bee is just gonna let us know what the hell is going on. The Sacramento Bee. Oh man, the Sac Bee. A number of theorists emerged following last year's fires, claiming that the burn patterns seen in some photos could only be explained by targeted lasers, which must have been operated by terrorist groups, the U.S. government, aliens, or some other agitated party. Terrorists, U.S. government, aliens, or some other agitated party. This piece of crap with his stupid Sacramento Bee, stupid is what he urged following last year's fire.
Steel melts in thousands of degrees and all this, and to see steel bent like that, but have vegetation and plant life and eucalyptus trees.
The holes that were burned through the hoods of cars all the way through the engine block are a little bit suspicious.
Wasn't that crazy?
Yeah. I've seen that with other fires, but not where it moves like that. Not where the fire is moving and one side of the street everything's fine, the other side of the street it looks like a nuclear war zone. Never seen anything like that.
What other options could there be besides a high-directed energy weapon that you could consider as a possibility in your experiences of all the firefighting you've done?
There's none that I could think of. There's none.
So this is the only plausible explanation that's being presented.
It's the only plausible explanation, in my opinion. That's the conclusion that I was brought to, based on my almost 30 years of experience.
And you know that steel melts in thousands of degrees and all this, and to see steel bent like that, but have vegetation and plant life and eucalyptus trees.
The holes that were burned through the hoods of cars all the way through the engine block are a little bit suspicious.
Wasn't that crazy?
Yeah.
The